Okay, fish fools, we'll make this part 2 of transferring fish to this 5.5 gallon tank. I'm taking fish out of 4 other tanks, or fish and shrimp, from 4 other tanks to move into this one. It's one of the great things about having lots of tanks. Having multi-tank syndrome, you can move fish from tank to tank. So picking up where I left off on part 1, I already moved the fish in this bag. I already gathered them up from my 30-gallon tank. So in there we have 5 fish. That's a white cloud in front of the bag. But there's a male and 3 female Xiphophorus species. Xiphophorus Viridis and Xiphophorus maculatus. They can interbreed, Platies and Viridis platies, and a female guppy. And from my 2-gallon tank, this female guppy. And I just gathered 2 female wild guppies right here from my wild guppy tank. And next, so that's all the fish that are going to be transferred over. And next, I need to get some shrimp. So let's move on. Let's check out my 3.5 gallon neocaridina shrimp tank. Alright, so here's my 3.5 gallon neocaridina shrimp tank. I also have some guppies in here. It's a guppy Endler hybrid. It's a Endler male. And around that way, there's a female wild guppy. So they've already had some babies in here. You can see the baby guppies. And I think that's this one right here is one that I moved into this tank that was born in another 10-gallon tank. But anyway, we're here to move some shrimp. So what I did the last time I moved shrimp from this tank, I moved some out of this into my 30-gallon. I just, sticking a net in and trying to scoop some up. It's just a 3.5 gallon tank, and there's a lot of stuff in the way. I don't really want to disturb the tank too much. So last time I did it, I just dropped some Ricciafluitans in here, and then the shrimp just kind of went right to it, and I scooped some out that way. So I'm going to drop this little clump in here. I just took this from my 30-gallon. So I'm going to drop this in here. And in no time, shrimp will just flock to it. And once they start grazing on it, I'll just take a little baggie and scoop some up. So which ones it will be, or just, I'm not going to specifically select any. I'm just going to let it go by chance, whichever ones happen to come up to this Riccia first. Alright, so stand by. I'll be back once some shrimp gather on it. Alright, so we've got a bunch of shrimp up in that Ricciafluitans. A while back I mentioned how Ricciafluitans can serve as a shrimp magnet because they go right to it like that. So there's more in that than I really want to scoop up to move to my other tank. So I'm going to try to scoop some. I might have to remove some if I get too many. Alright, let's see how much I end up with. Alright, so it looks like I ended up with 5 shrimp, a guppy fry, and a bladder snail. So 5 shrimp right here. Unintended guppy fry. Where'd it go? Yeah. Ended up in the bag. So we'll just see if it can survive in here. I think the odds are probably against it, but we'll see what happens. And all the 5 shrimp that I ended up with appear to be red cherry shrimp. So I have all neocaridina shrimp in that tank, and there's some blue ones and some that ended up kind of colorless, and some, some of their offspring maybe kind of brown and wild looking. But all these, that scoop ended up being red. Whether they're males and females, not entirely sure. I never really knew how to tell them apart. I only know when the females are, when they're pregnant, when they're buried, I can tell that they're females. But let's see if just from these 5 that we're starting with can start a population in here. In my 30-gallon, I started with maybe 6 to 8. I moved them the same way. Not even sure if they would survive at all, and they really did very well in that tank, especially, with all, I wasn't sure, especially with all the fish I have in there, but they did, they did start reproducing, and there's lots of fish, lots of shrimp in there that have grown up big and healthy. So I'm gonna let these acclimate, and we'll return when I release them into the tank. Stand by. Alright, so all the fish and shrimp have been acclimated and released into the tank. So we'll see how they do. We'll see if we can get some, over time, get some platy fry born in here. Another generation of guppies. And if we can get a shrimp population